the abduction of a head of state and the breach of his immunities from foreign criminal prosecution are also further grave violations of international law. I mean, this is a shocking violation of the most fundamental rules of international law of the last century, really, since the use of force was banned in international relations way back in 1928. And coming from a superpower, this sets a terrible precedent for other authoritarian countries to follow. This is an armed attack on Venezuela, giving Venezuela a right of self-defense, by the way, against the United States. It's also what we call the crime of aggression under international law, which, of course, German and Japanese war leaders were convicted of after the Second World War in the late 1940s. The abduction of a head of state and the breach of his immunities from foreign criminal prosecution are also further grave violations of international law. So these threats against other countries are also taking us into very, very dangerous territory. That's right, and he came to power as a result of serious electoral fraud, and his government was certainly illegitimate in that political sense. But that doesn't give any other country a right to forcibly intervene to overthrow the leader of that country, regardless of how the government came to power. This is also not just a simple arrest or a law enforcement operation, as the US has claimed it was, because, of course, more than, at least 80 people were killed in this attack, including civilians, by the way. And if an alleged drug trafficker were arrested on the streets of New York or Washington, D.C., we would never tolerate in a million years 80 people being killed in order to arrest one person. So, of course, the United States has a veto power in the Security Council and can block any enforcement action proposed by the Council against it. This is one of the critical flaws in the architecture of the United Nations Security Council over the last 80 years and is in dire need of reform, as everybody knows. But, of course, the vested interests of the permanent 5 members have prevented any of that kind of change. The General Assembly could certainly vote to condemn it and express the will of the international community as a whole, not just the 15 members of the Security Council. In the General Assembly, every country gets a vote, and when the United States invaded Panama back in 1989, the General Assembly voted by a clear majority to condemn that action by the United States. All countries have to act individually as well. Governments around the world should loudly protest this attack on another sovereign nation. They should think about reevaluating their own ties with the United States, because this isn't the first action by the US against Venezuela. It was preceded by an illegal blockade of sanctioned Venezuelan oil tankers, CIA covert action inside the country, an attack on a port facility, and then, of course, the murder of at least 115 alleged drug traffickers on civilian boats in the high seas between Venezuela and the United States. That's cold-blooded mass murder ordered by the US president. This is a man who is not fit for office, and United States institutions should push back against this.